So there was a tournament here in town in Jacksonville, just a small tournament, nothing major. And yeah, I mean, I can, remember it like it was yesterday. Woke up, met up with a couple buddies of mine and to ride with them and headed out to the field. It was a hot day. It was July 3rd, 2010. So obviously right in the middle of the summer, so it was super hot. So the guys on my team, I could kind of see that they were getting tired. So I told them I would play defense for a couple plays. And it was actually the second play out there on defense. I'm lined up against one of the faster guys out there, and he took off, run a straight fly down the field, and I was with him to an extent, but I mean I'm a little older now, 29 years old, so I wasn't quite as fast as I used to be. So he got past me, and the ball was actually underthrown, and he ended up coming back for the ball, and we both jumped up for the ball, and he kind of got on the back side of me, and we kind of got tangled up. He got both hands on the ball. I had one hand on the ball trying to rip it out. And when I did so, we both landed, and I landed on my butt, sitting straight up, and ended up pulling him on top of me, and pushed my head into my chest and broke my neck instantly. The guy who runs the league out there is a good Christian guy, a good friend of mine, Ralph. He actually, I had him pray and just, started making all the promises to God. God, you get me out of this, I'll do this, I'll use this store, sort of thing. And as I was praying, as he was praying, I mean, I got this warm feeling over me, almost like it wasn't going to end like this. And it kind of reassured me, like, okay, it's not going to end like this. Call Jamie, let her know what's going on. Don't tell her anything serious. Well, she was at the beach, 4th of July weekend, enjoying the beach with family. And she gets the call, and it's like, okay, Tim's been hurt. You need to get to the hospital right away. She heard that from the doctors that I had broken my neck, C3, C4 level, and was paralyzed from the neck down and would basically never walk again, never have a functional life ever again. She sat there right then and prayed, and she got kind of like the same warm feeling that I got, like the exact same words, like it's not going to end like this. So I was put on life support, basically like a ventilator to breathe. Had that down my throat, had a tube up my nose to eat, a feeding tube. So a week or so, I was in that condition. And during that week, I actually ended up getting a staph infection, got pneumonia, got 104 fever, which basically, I think they told my wife if it got any higher than that, my brain would fry, is what they told her. I couldn't do the second surgery because of all that going on. But once they got all that stabilized, I was able to have the second surgery a week after the first surgery. So yes, it was a week after the accident. You always hear people say, like, they had that, meeting with God or anything. I mean, I didn't see God or I didn't see anything like that, but I just had that feeling like, I'm gonna use you for this. Like, I'm gonna use you, period. It happened from the ground up, so I could wiggle my toes, and then like hours later I could move my feet, and then maybe my shins, stuff like that. The next day I was able to wiggle my knees. Every day was better than the next. But when I went to Brooks, it was like full on, man. Like, so I get to Brooks and I'm having to learn how to do everything basically all over again. 29 years old, and I'm waking up in the morning and my mom's brushing my teeth, my dad's putting on my deodorant, my wife's feeding me, stuff that nobody wants to go through as a 29-year-old, but that's where I was. I mean, that was the normal for me right then. Once therapy began, like once I got into like full-on therapy, man, it was like, let's go. But I was struggled a lot because like I could move my legs, so like I knew like, okay, if I'm able to move my legs, I'm able to kind of wiggle my butt, I could walk. So I wanted to start walking right away. Like I wanted to start doing stuff normal again. But that was a lot harder than I thought was gonna be, because every time I stood up, like they'd get me up, I'd get really lightheaded. I guess when you sit for a long time or lay for a long time, when you stand up for the first time, all the blood rushes to your feet, and I passed out. Like I passed out a lot. I can remember taking those first steps, man, and it was incredible. Like seriously, the most incredible thing ever. 3.5 weeks after the accident, took some steps, walked probably about 20 steps, and it was just a feeling like, okay, this is where I'm supposed to be. I went back to my room after that, just bawled. I mean, I cried like a baby, man. It was like You know, I mean, as you can imagine, I'm told I would never walk again, and here I am just 3.5 weeks later walking. I can kind of move a little bit, you know what I mean? Like I was doing stuff and I was in the gym and I was working out, I was doing all this stuff. So it really got me to thinking like, I want to do flag football again. I called up my brother. I was like, hey, there's a big national tournament coming up in Orlando. Let's go play. He's like, you're crazy. And I'm like, no, let's do it. We ended up getting a team together, kind of like some of the old guys, not having any expectations. I just want to play again, just to play again. Well, we win the first game, we win the next game, we win the next game. And we ended up winning every game and ended up winning this big national flag football tournament. And my story just kind of like blew up from there. I started doing speaking engagements, telling my story. I remember the first time I told my story, I was like, wow, that was awesome. Like I told it to a bunch of high school kids. It was awesome. Went to like a foundation and told it to a bunch of boys. They loved it, man. They had questions like they just took to it. Like I could see they're taken to the story. Started getting messages from people I didn't know saying, hey, you know, man, I hurt my knee a few weeks ago. I hurt my knee a few months ago. And you've inspired me to go try doing this again. Like, you know, somebody hurt their shoulder. I remember I got a thing. You've inspired me to try to go back. Like, I don't care if I'm 40 years old, I want to try to do this again. It got me thinking about, man, I need to start doing something with my story and giving back at the same time. So I'm like, how can I do that? How about if we do sports camps, like free sports camps? One of the good things about the foundation, and like the best thing I've seen too, is like I get emails from parents that are like, you know, my kid, and this was another vision of mine, like that I really didn't have. Like we're not looking, like at first when I first started the camps, I was like, I want to get the best kids. I want to make them even better, sort of thing, you know what I mean? But now it's all about like, I get emails from parents that said, hey, my kid's never played soccer before. He came to your soccer camp, now he loves soccer. It's just been incredible, and we've been at it now for 5 years. We do all kinds of sports camps, basketball, baseball, football. When I first started, I mean, I really just wanted to do those main ones, and then it just kept going. Now we have dance. We do a lot of dance camps, cheer camps, wrestling. I mean, any sport you can think of, we do. So they're all free. I never want to charge. People are always like, why don't you charge $5? Try to get in the foundation. It's not about that for me. I'm not trying to make, you know, a bunch of money off this. You know, we need donations, obviously, to help it run, but you know, I'm not in it to make money. I'm in it to give back to these kids, for sure, and tell my story, because this is where God called me to be.